Hey, everybody. How y'all doing? Let me center this. See, I hate doing this. It doesn't ever center right. I'm always like over to this side. There we go. Now I look pretty decent. How's everybody doing? Hope y'all had a good weekend. It was hot as hell in Maryland. It was like 100 degrees the other day. And then with the humidity, it was like 5,010. And then you add in like no air, and it was like 3 million. That's what I'm trying to say. It was really hot. But I hope you all stayed cool. Got to do some good things. I kept my white lily butt inside because I don't like the heat. I'm a sissy. So I stayed inside, hung out with my son. Had a pretty good time. Can't complain. Not happy that the work week is coming up, but you know what it is, what it is. So, want to let you all know, I was supposed to have Daryl Leon McClanahan III on tonight. He is running for governor of Missouri. I call it the last minute. Maybe you all don't, but like an hour and a half, 2 hours before we were supposed to go on, he sent me a email that said, I'm not feeling it tonight pretty much, so I got to cancel. But he said he could send me a recorded conversation. So I have it written down in my notes what I wanted to say. So let me just say this, and I'll kind of get on with that. There was a scheduled interview with Daryl Leon McClanahan III tonight to discuss his bid for the governor of Missouri. But he has canceled at the last minute. I'm not feeling up to it. That's what I meant. Was the only explanation I was given. This is disappointing, not just for me because he does my second podcast. So it'd be cool to have somebody on here. But also for you, who probably were looking forward to hearing directly from the candidate. You probably had some questions you wanted to ask him. So I apologize that he wasn't here. It's unfortunate that he can't. Well, it's unfortunate he's not able to follow through on his commitment or, show up on the show. I have and never will chase after anybody or beg anyone to be on this show with us to talk to us. The invitation's open-ended. The ball's in his court. So you're stuck with me tonight. But I got stuff we can talk about anyway. And I also want to say it's also worth noting that Mr. McClanahan's cancellation should raise some questions possibly about their commitment, transparency, and accountability to you, the voter. We hope that he will reconsider in the future. He'll make himself available to answer our questions and your questions as well. So in the email he sent me, he said you can't do it tonight. Like I said, he wasn't feeling it, but he could send me the recorded conversation we had. I called him on the phone to set this up, and apparently I guess he recorded that conversation, which I'm not cool with. I didn't say anything on that conversation that I'm afraid to get out or be embarrassed by. I just call it respectful when you let somebody else know you're gonna record the conversation. And if you don't let somebody know, you probably shouldn't record the conversation. I think that's pretty shady to me. Kind of upsetting, kind of upsets me. Not like boo-hoo, more like, what the fuck were you thinking? Why would you do that and not tell me? So I'm kind of torn between whether I'm sad he's here or glad he isn't. I don't know. That just kind of pissed me off. I'm sure it pissed all you off too. Someone said, oh, by the way, I recorded our conversation. I can play that back for you and we can use that for my show. Really? That's kind of shady. That's really shady. But moving on past him, I've got a bunch of stuff I can talk about. Before we get into that, let's start paying some of the bills here. I'm sorry. Let's do it. Just get it over with.
Born in the coastal plains of South Texas, Smoking Gun Coffee is founded by combat veterans that know exactly what a cup of coffee needs to taste like. Run by father and son, each coffee bean is perfected, roasted at 500 degrees, and cooled with a Gulf Coast breeze. Smoking Gun Coffee hand makes and bags each ounce of coffee for maximum customer satisfaction. With every purchase, 10% goes back to organizations that help veterans and local communities. That's Texas made, one bag at a time. To find out more, go to www.smokingguncoffee.com.
So that's Smoking Gun Coffee, veteran-owned company. I'm a vet, so I truly appreciate that they're doing that. If you go to their website and then you go to Coffee Club, I think it's called, you can find Conservative Club coffee that tastes just like you think Freedom would taste. The exact same way. Tastes just like Freedom. So go ahead and get you some. And if you do order it, take a picture you drink in it and send it to me and I'll post it because I think it'd be pretty cool. But it's really good coffee. Tastes just like Freedom. And how can you say no to that? I mean, really, how can you say no? Unless you're a communist and don't want to taste Freedom. Then it's up to you. All right. So let's get into what I have here. We can talk about some things. Like I said, I'm going to jump around. It's the ADD I have. We can call it that. Also, remember, I do curse a little bit. So if you got little ears around you, you might want to just be aware that I've been known to drop the expletive randomly. So let's the first, and the bad thing about being on Sundays, I'm going to talk about stuff you already heard about and know about, but you haven't heard me talk about it yet, so it'll make it worth it. All right, so on Monday, we all know that the Supreme Court ruled that Donald Trump can claim immunity from criminal prosecution for official actions he takes as a president, which makes complete sense to me. I mean, if the man wants to go to war and declares war after he becomes president, he's going to get sued by the other country for it. So it kind of makes sense. That also is going to delay the trial on his federal election subversion charges. They're going to postpone that till September, I think they said, or something like that. I think they're going to hold till November. I think that should have that should have happened without saying. Like I said, you don't need a president who's in office making decisions while worried about what may happen if he makes the wrong decisions. Am I going to get sued? Am I going to go to jail? Are all these other things going to happen to me? So I completely agree with that ruling, not just for Trump, but for any president. Now, of course, when this ruling came out, the shit-headed, evil-minded Democrats all of a sudden said, well, now Biden could legally assassinate Trump because it would be an action during his presidency and be official. That just sums up Democrats as a whole right there. They go from malicious prosecution to, hey, now he can kill people, or Biden can kill people because he's the president. And as long as it's an official act, it's okay. And they mentioned Trump. I haven't read anywhere when that came out, any Republican going, hey, now we can go kill people. It was only Democrats that said that. And it was almost immediately. And that's disgusting. Because none of this has to do with anything. The things that Trump was accused of are pretty much victimless crimes. He wasn't out there drinking and driving and hitting people, or assault or theft or anything like that. So for these Democrats to go from what he's been charged with to automatically assuming, hey, Biden cannot go kill people because he's president, and if he makes it official, it's okay, is disgusting. And it's reprehensible, and there's no defending it, none. And I think one of the guys who said that online or on his tweet actually had the Secret Service come visit him, which is fine with me. I hope they lock his ass up. But we all know Democrats play by different rules. They get away with stuff that conservatives can't, and that's just how it is. But yeah, it didn't shock me that that's where the Democrats went immediately with that, murder, mayhem. That's what they do. They're evil people. Not all of them. So save the nasty emails and all that. Not all Democrats are evil. A lot of them are, especially the ones saying now that Biden can go kill people. And I think Trump's lawyers have already gone out now and tried to move for a dismissal of charges and vacate the last ruling because of this new interpretation by the Supreme Court. And I hope they do dismiss everything. It was all malicious prosecution. I'm sorry. I don't know why I can't say malicious prosecution. They did it just because they don't like him, not because they were trying to prove anything. They did it because they just don't like Trump. What he did has happened time and time and time again. Nobody's ever been prosecuted for it. He did it. They prosecuted him simply because they don't like him. So I hope the Supreme Court gave all those people the big middle finger, and now they got to back off. And then there was another ruling that came out with the J6 people, an interpretation of the law that a lot of them have been charged with. Supreme Court said you can't do that. You have really, really, really gone overboard with that. You can't do it anymore. So hopefully that gets those people out of there sooner rather than later, because they've been held for over a year with no hearings and nothing like that. It's kind of like they're in the third world nation. So let's hope that they get out of there soon and that the ruling helps them, and maybe they'll leave Trump alone now. But they're not. They're going to find some other reason to hassle him and make his life a living hell just because they can. It's at some point, somebody somewhere has to go, hey, maybe we need to move away from this guy and start looking at real criminals. Start prosecuting people who've really done some bad things. I don't know. It just seems now, if I didn't know this for a fact, if I didn't know all this stuff going around Trump and J6 for a fact, I would think it was a plot to a really bad movie by Michael Bay, and I wouldn't see it. but I know it's real, and that makes it all the more horrifying. So yeah, hopefully these rulings have helped, and it'll get these people free, get them back home. It'll give him off Trump's back, and he can start doing what he needs to do to get reelected president. But who knows? I mean, truly, who knows? The Democrats and liberals have no idea of fair play or anything like that. So I don't think it's going to stop. It's just going to get worse. And they're going to keep hassling that man. About disgusting and horrible. And my God, this is allowed to happen. Gay pride in San Francisco. And I'm not, and it's ridiculous that I have to say this every time I mention something. I am not homophobic, number one, which means I'm afraid of gay people. I'm not afraid of gay people. I'm not anti-homosexual at all, by no stretch of the imagination. I'm not. But there's a time and a place for everything. And in San Francisco is not the time and the place for the crap that went on in public, in front of kids, on the street, with police there. There were men in public performing oral sex on each other at the Pride Fest. You can find this on YouTube. There's videos everywhere. There was another one where they had an inflatable pool and passerbys were encouraged, like, hey, come over here and pee on this guy. And there's a man laying in the inflatable pool with like an inch of urine around him. And it was on the side of the street. Wasn't in a building, wasn't in an alley. It was on the sidewalk where people could see it. Police were there. They saw it all. Nobody was prosecuted. Nobody was arrested. This was not stopped. It was allowed to go on. And that was considered a family friendly thing. Yeah, they were peeing on people. Guy was like in leather with like a harness. He was laying at a pool. And the pictures is this lady copping a squat on top of him or over him and peeing. Well, other people were applauding. People were naked, holding themselves and watching. Pretty much like you would think Dante's Fifth Level would be. It was disgusting. And I'm all for expressing yourself. I don't think anybody should be ashamed of who they are. But like I said, there's a time and a place for everything. What they allowed to have happen in San Francisco on that street is reprehensible. It's disgusting. It had no social value. It wasn't like they were trying to teach people anything or trying to, share their lives. They were pissing on people and giving each other blowjobs on the sidewalk. And this is and there were children in the crowd. There's a video of a gentleman naked on the sidewalk as a gay pride went by. And every time a kid would walk by him, he would wave him down and try to get him to come over to him. And they interviewed him. Of course, he said, I didn't do me that. I was just wanted to say hi to him. No, you weren't, you sick bastard. You're probably a pedophile, and you figured, hey, I'm in San Francisco, and they're pissing on people over there, so I can touch kids, and no one's going to say anything. San Francisco is a prime example of a Democrat-run city that's allowed to do and say and act any way they want to because nobody wants to tell anybody no. Like, no, you can't do this. We're not giving you a permit so you can piss on people on the sidewalk. No, we're not going to give you a permit for a parade where men are going to be giving each other oral sex in broad daylight on a sidewalk. We're not going to allow this. And if that pisses you off, I don't care. Go get a lawyer, file a lawsuit, do what you got to do. I'm not going to approve it. And that's just how it's going to be. But no, a Democrat-run city's like, ooh, that sounds really exciting. Can I watch? Let me go get my knee pads. They don't have the intestinal fortitude, the integrity, the honor, the intelligence, or the humanity just to say no. It's not going to happen here. We're not going to allow that. Why would you want to do that in public anyway? I mean that as asking somebody, not the person doing it. I mean, we all know why they want to do it in public because it's their attention whores. I wouldn't be surprised if deep down inside they know their lifestyle is wrong or they think it's wrong. So in order to feel better about it, they do things in public because they know they'll be encouraged by other people who feel the same way about their lifestyle. So they won't feel so bad about themselves. I guarantee that's why they do it in public. But that's what I would ask if I was a person in charge of, like, why do you want to do this in public? And if I were a cop, I'd be like, okay, that's it, done. You're all under arrest. Let's go. Don't care if this is a pride festival. Don't care what you are. You're doing stuff that's illegal in public and there's minors around you. Up against the wall, you're under arrest. Let's go. Or better yet, don't go against the wall. Resist. I would like it if you resisted me. I haven't been able to use my mace in a while, and my taser battery's running down, so I want to use it before I have to throw it away. What happened to, like, adults? What happened to adults being in charge? When I was growing up, and when some of you were growing up, because some of you were my age, if that happened in public, there would be an outcry. People would be screaming, and you're like, what the hell is going on here? Stop this. Parents would be breaking up. Like, you're not doing this in front of my kid. But now it's acceptable. I mean, like I said, look at public schools. You can read about that in books, in libraries, in public schools. So for them to do it on the streets of San Francisco doesn't surprise me. And isn't San Francisco like the poop capital of America or something? Don't people just like poop on the sidewalks now? Like everywhere? Like I could go to the bathroom, it's right there. But now I'm just going to cop a squat here by the mailbox. I mean, so it really doesn't surprise me that's going on in San Francisco. What actually surprised me, maybe because I'm naive, is how incredibly disgusting it was. I mean, don't get me wrong. Someone copping a squat on the sidewalk in front of a restaurant and dropping a deuce is horrible. But having oral sex in a sidewalk in front of kids between two men is far more horrible. And people go, "You're making this up. That didn't happen. You're a homophobe." It's online. You can find it all online, everywhere, pictures, everything. It's not me making it up. Not at all. It happened. There's video evidence. Go look at it for yourself. And I challenge, and I'm challenging all you parents, and I'm parents, I hate doing this, air quotes, parents, all you parents out there that support pornography in schools to watch the video of the women pissing on this man and the naked men waving at children to come tell me that you support that as well. I want to hear that from you. If you could support pornography in middle schools, I don't see why you wouldn't support the Gay Pride Fest in San Francisco. I want you to come on here and debate me. Tell me why that's acceptable, why we should not be upset with that, why we should allow that to happen. And I'll be respectful. I won't attack you. We'll have a debate. And I want to know, I want to hear your points and your reasoning behind saying that would be acceptable. So if that's something you're interested in and you want to defend that because you believe it is good, send me an email and we'll work something out. But seriously, if that's something you think is good, I'd like to hear from you. I don't think it's good at all. Even if I didn't have a kid, it's still, there's a time and place for everything, and that's not it. That was disgusting. And this is why aliens won't visit us. That right there. That because our president walks around in diapers and doesn't know where he is. Those two things keep aliens from visiting us. And I'm not making it up. I couldn't make it up. Even if I tried to, I couldn't make it up. So yeah, San Francisco Gay Pride. Woohoo! And you know what else I'd like to know? Are there gay people out there, homosexuals, that don't agree with what happened? I think that's just as disgusting as I think it is. I want to hear from you too. I mean, I don't think I'll be surprised with that. I think I'll see enough people like that. Yeah, aliens do need to come save us. I agree with that. That's, yeah. And the only reason this stuff happens is because we as a society allow it. All we have to do is say no and then vote in people who will agree with us. And just because you don't want to see this stuff on the street does not mean you're a homophobe or anti-gay or anything like that. It just means you're a decent human being with a little integrity. That's all that means. But they're going to try to tell you if you're against that, you're a homophobe and blah, 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 blah. Okay, I've talked about that enough. Y'all know what I mean. It's ridiculous. I don't agree with it. And if you agree with it, get in touch with me. And if you're homosexual, don't agree with it, get in touch with me. I want to hear from both sides. That's just me. I wonder what the tourism is in San Francisco now. Like, if you're stepping over landmines because people are shitting everywhere, and then they're having sex on the streets. I wonder if people still go there to visit, go to Alcatraz or anything like that. I know I wouldn't. It's just, yeah, look online. You'll see what I'm talking about. Speaking of morons that don't know what the hell they're doing, Code Pink. I don't know if you remember them at all. They're the people that wore the pussy hats and like are pro-abortion and like feminazis and all that just don't think men should be alive. They have plans to disrupt Prime Minister Netanyahu's visit to D.C. on the 24th of July. They're going to disrupt that. I don't know what they're going to do. I honestly, I thought Code Pink wasn't a thing anymore. I thought they, their husbands came home and said, "Hey, that's enough. Get your ass back in the kitchen and make me a sandwich." But apparently not. They're still doing their thing. And that was a joke to stop. But yeah, they're still around. So I don't know what they're going to do to disrupt it. I honestly don't know how they're going to handle that. I mean, are all 10 of them going to get together and hurl insults at people? Or what are they going to do? I mean, what are they protesting, number one? That's the first thing I was, from what I've read, the genocide and murder of people in Gaza by Israel. And I read through their whole, I don't know if it's a manifesto or what the hell you would call it, their ramblings. And I read through that, and they pretty much said that it was because of the senseless murder and stuff like that, but nowhere in any of their ramblings did they mention what happened on October 7th or what has been going on between Gaza and Israel for decades. Gaza launching rockets into Israel almost a daily basis, bombings and shootings that Hamas has committed in Israel. They didn't mention any of that. Again, it's all one-sided. Israel's killing folks for no reason. They're over there wholesale, just spraying down neighborhoods, yada, yada, yada. And just when you think maybe they've made like a point, like, well, maybe they got a point. You see a picture of them with their pussy hats on, you're like, hey, these people are nuts. I wouldn't care if they told me 2 + 2 is 4. I'd argue it with them because they're stupid and they're crazy and it's probably not true. And it's sad. It's sad. I mean, like I said, these people protested anti-abortion, they're pro-choice, they protested, you name it, and they're out there protesting. The funny thing is, though, if you go to this protest and you ask them what they're protesting, I guarantee you, out of 10 people, if you ask 10 people, 2 won't know why they're there, 3 are just going to scream insults at you, and the rest might know a little bit about what's going on and tell you we're here because of this. But I guarantee you, most of them are going to be insane, frothing at the mouth with their pussy hats on, screaming and yelling at you, unable to answer the question. It would be, maybe I'll go down there that day. Maybe I'll go down there and try to record that. Maybe. I work in sales, so my schedule is really weird. It's hard for me to like really get anything going. So if I can get off, I'll go down there and I'll record it and I'll share it with everybody. But yeah, so July 24th, Code Pink and their pussy hats are going to be down in DC trying to boycott or make Prime Minister Netanyahu leave DC early. I got some. Bibi was in a war. Do you really think a bunch of psychotic women with too much free time on their hands are going to phase him at all? I mean, if he can get shot at, fight hand to hand and kill terrorists, I don't think some lonely housewives are going to affect him that much. That's just my opinion. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, and just so you know, Mission Barbecue, awesome. I love that place. Just putting that out there. If you got one near you, go there. Turkey's incredible. They got good hamburgers too. Like I said, there's a squirrel. I jump around. I apologize. So yeah, if you're in DC on July 24th, be on the lookout for Code Pink. All 15 of them are going to be down there trying to disrupt some things. Maybe it'd be like 100 degrees that day too. I wonder if they're going to show up if it's really hot, because those pussy hats got to get really hot because they look like they were knitted. So they would have wet pussy hats. Okay, that was wrong. I apologize. But yeah, it's going to be really hot. So I'm wondering if they're going to come down and actually do anything in the heat. I don't know. Again, if you're on the chat and you ask a question and I don't answer, please don't think I'm ignoring you. I'm trying to keep up. Like, again, this is on my second podcast. So I got a lot of things in front of me and I'm trying to track everything. So I apologize. So I'm not ignoring you. Please don't think I am. Just give me a second. And if you ask a question and like 2 minutes go by, just put the chat, hey, jackass, I asked you a question. What do you think? And then I'll get to it. Yes, Pop D, BBQ, Mission BBQ is the best. I love it. Me and my son go there and we eat like 4 turkeys. That turkey is great. And they got like a smoked hamburger. Oh, it's awesome. But yeah, Code Pink, pussy hats, July 24th. Go there and mock them and make fun of them. And then maybe they'll stop coming around, because I honestly thought they were no longer a thing. I had to read it twice, like, who the hell's Code Pink? And then I saw the picture of the hats when they were arguing, when they were, protesting Donald Trump. So I was like, oh, it's those morons. So yeah, they're going to be down there. Be advised, if you work in DC or are going to travel to DC on the 24th of July, there's going to be more lunatics down there than normal. But they'll be easy to pick out. Just look for the hats, like I said. And so far, I haven't heard any of the Republicans coming out and going, hey, that's, leave alone. Netanyahu's a guest in this country. Show some respect. Yada, yada, yada. I'm conservative. And I'm explaining this because I'm going to get into something. And if I explain it now, what I'm going to get into will make sense to you. I am conservative. I don't consider myself a Republican anymore, because the Republican Party has let me down time after time after time after time. I am definitely in no way, shape, or form a liberal or Democrat at all, nor will I ever be. I have always identified with Republicans until recently, and now I can't. So I wish conservative was a party, because that's what the party I'd be a member of. So I'm a conservative who leans towards Republicans. I am not happy with the Republican Party. I do not think the Republican Party is what they used to be. I think they've sold out, and they're more worried about getting along rather than doing what's right. Not all of them. There are a few Republicans out there that still really do fight for people, not the government. They don't fight for handouts. They fight for people. And that's another thing. Somebody asked me the other day, as a conservative, do I not want to help people? No, that's not the case. The case is I have no problem giving people a hand up. If you're down and out and you're struggling and you can't get it, but you're trying, conservatives will give you a hand up. Every day, all day, they'll give you a hand up. But we will stop once we start to realize that hand up has now become a handout and you expect it. And you're not doing anything else to better yourself. Then we're going to stop. Like any rational person would. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So no, conservatives aren't against helping people. They are all for helping people. But it's a hand up. We'll get you back on your feet. We'll make sure you're good, make sure you're going, and then we're done. We're not going to carry you. We're not going to feed you for months and months and months because you don't want to go look, or you're looking for work, but you can't find the job you want. Sometimes you got to take the job you can get. So with that in mind, the Republican Party, and I can speak more directly to where I'm at and locally, but I'm sure it applies to other places too. The Republican Party has pretty much become rhinos. I'd say 95, 96% of the people in the Republican Party are rhinos. Yes, Michael Steele, Pop D in Maryland, Michael Steele, perfect example. The dude has dropped to his knees so many times, he has no more kneecaps. He has surgically implanted knee pads. The Republicans are so quick to drop down and kiss ass just to get along. Larry Hogan, there's another one. And there are so many more. We could go on for days talking about the rhinos. But the Republican Party has become inundated with rhinos. Republican clubs that act like nothing more than a social club. Happy hours, holiday parties, cookouts, but don't do the work that's required to get conservative Republicans in office, because then they would have to upset some people. Then they would have to talk bad about people. And they're not going to do that. They want to be everybody's buddy. They want to get invited to all the parties. They want to get their pictures in all the newspapers. And the way you do that is you kiss everybody's ass, you don't make waves, and you don't expect anybody to do anything out of line. Prime example of that I can relate to, and I can relate to you in Maryland as far as rhinos, is when Dan Cox ran for governor. He beat the poster child, the lapdog, whatever you want to call it, for the Republican Party of Maryland, Kelly Schultz. Right or wrong, whether you like him or not, he won. The minute he won, the Republican Party turned their back on him and threw him under the bus. As a matter of fact, then Governor Larry Hogan campaigned and endorsed the Democratic candidate for governor, Wes Moore, threw Dan Cox under the bus as a Republican and helped the Democrat governor get into office. Nobody in the MDGOP, nobody in any of the local Republican clubs had the balls to say anything about it other than it's Larry Hogan. We got to kiss his ass. He's in charge of the Republican Party. Nobody said, hey, what are we doing? Why is the head of the Republican Party in Maryland backing and campaigning for a Democrat? What the hell is going on here? No. They all applauded, and you know what? They had extra happy hours so they could sit around and talk about how great they were supporting Larry Hogan. I can only speak to Maryland, but I am sure across the nation there are problems like that with every party in every state. That's why I don't associate or call myself a Republican anymore, because of that. I am a conservative, a constitutionalist conservative. I don't think the Republican Party, doesn't represent me anymore. It represents itself. It's a money-making propaganda, or a money-making organization. That's all they want to do is make money. Maryland's MDGOP, I think till recently, was $90,000 in the hole. They couldn't help anybody run for any office because they didn't have the money. And there's a gentleman in Maryland who I follow on Facebook, and I don't want to say his name because I'm not sure if he'd be cool with it, that knows a lot about that. I'd like to get him on the show one day just to pick his brain. He knows a lot about the inner workings and how things are going. So maybe I'll get him on one day. But yeah, your Republican Party in Maryland isn't doing anything to advance the Republican cause. They're not supporting Republican candidates. And if they do, it's because you've kissed the ring, you've kissed their ass, and they can control you. The guest, he sent me, I talked about it earlier, the guest sent me an email, didn't feel like he could do it today, but he wouldn't play a pre-recorded conversation we had in lieu of. And I don't remember agreeing to be recorded for any conversation. So I told him, no, I don't do recorded things. If he wants to come on, he can come on. The invitation's open. And I'll get with you later about that, Eddie. I'll forward you the email. And I know you can't see Eddie, but Eddie's here. He's the producer, and he's asking about the guy who's supposed to be here, the governor, candidate for governor, so I'm letting him know. So back to Republicans. Rhinos, I think Frederick County has now actually been designated a rhino sanctuary. So they all come to Maryland, and they're safe here, kind of like the sanctuary cities Larry Hogan allowed to have happen in Maryland. And I understand what you're saying, Pop D. I'm not voting for Larry Hogan because, and I'll go into this real quick. Larry Hogan shut down businesses. He shut down schools. He shut down churches, but kept Planned Parenthood open and kept liquor stores open. Forced kids to wear masks, forced the jab on people, signed red flag into law in Maryland. Spent over, I think it was $2 million on test kits from South Korea that no one ever saw, no one ever used that I know of, and nobody can trace it because there was no paperwork for it. He's a Democrat. When he got out of politics, he joined the No Labels Party. So he wasn't even a Republican when he was out. He only became a Republican when he came back into the race so he could get Republicans to vote for him while still courting the Democrats. He has said time and time again he does not like Trump. He will not support Trump if Trump's elected president. But you still have people in Maryland who'll swear to God, if we don't elect Larry Hogan, we're not going to flip the Senate. We don't need Maryland to flip the Senate. There's 4 other states that are going to take care of that. Don't need Maryland. Don't vote for Larry Hogan. If you don't want to vote for the Democrat, like I'm not going to vote for the Democrat, undervote. Don't vote for anybody. As long as we keep voting for shit candidates and weak candidates, that's all the party will give us because they think they got you hook, line, and sinker, and they don't got to give anybody that's worth their weight in salt. Stop voting for weak candidates. Pressure the party to put up people who can do the job. Ability over appearance. Simple as that. And like I always say, principle over party. Stop voting for weak candidates, and they'll stop putting them up because they'll know they're not going to get the votes. Stop giving your money to the party. Give your money directly to candidates that you want to support. Give your time to the candidate you want to support. If you give your money to the party, you will never know if it gets to your candidate. Go directly to the candidate. Number 2, the candidate will really appreciate that because it's right there. He can do it and work with it. Don't give it to the party. Stop giving your money to the party, period. Stop donating your money to the party because they think they got you. That's why we have weak candidates. They think they have you. They know every month you're going to pay your dues or you're going to send in the donation. They don't got to work for it anymore. Make them work for it. Make them earn your money. Make them earn your time. I'll get off my soapbox now. But yeah, a lot of rhinos in Maryland. Stop giving your money to them. Go right to the candidate. It's right. And that goes for anywhere, any state, anywhere. Go right to the candidate. So, based on the president's less than stellar performance on the debate, and I say that because the man's getting beat up, I'm not going to dogpile him. He has been getting more and more louder and louder calls for him to step down. I mean, it used to be like a little whisper. Now it's people out in the open. Hey, this guy's got to step down. He's got to go. And I said on my first podcast that if that happened, it would be Gavin Newsom that would come in. And I still think that's the case. The cackler, Kamala Harris, has already said she wants to be governor of California. So it kind of all feeds into itself. If she goes there, he becomes a nominee for president. There you have it. Do I think he'll win? No. They have no time to promote him. They got no time to raise money. Some people don't even know who he is. So, yep, the cup right there. I got something in it, or I turn it over. So those yells for him to quit have gotten louder and louder and louder. Do I think he'll step down? No, I do not. I don't think he will. All right. Time to pay the bills again real quick. Let me be back in a minute. Enjoy the commercials. This is a cool one too.
Not believe, no detergent, no hot water, no fabric softener. Now you even threw away all the chemicals to clean your home. I don't need to buy sprays to cut through grease. I don't need to buy window cleaners. I don't need to buy carpet shampoo. I don't need to buy things to mop my floor. I don't need to buy things to take pesticide off my vegetables, fruits, and fish. Oh my gosh, where did this come from? I'll tell you where it came from. It came from hospitals. This is actually a photo of a huge commercial hospital laundry technology that cost in excess of $100,000 if you bought that whole thing, and it'll fill up your garage. That's how big it is. And what we've done with the advent of microelectronic technology, my team and I constantly use microtechnology just like your smartphone. The new EcoWasher SE is a chemical-free laundry and cleaning solution. Imagine no more detergent, no more chemicals, saves you money, pays for itself, gives you a healthier life, and simplifies doing laundry. And now we're going to include 2 free Thunder Pure Safe Air Minis that purifies your home and sanitizes your surfaces like a thunderstorm in nature, eliminates all odors. Plus, you're receiving $100 off by using code podcast on the new EcoWasher SE. Let me remind you, 2 free Thunder Pure Safe Air Minis plus $100 off during this podcast. Podcast is your coupon code at Eco.
I don't know what it is, but the thunder's cool. Maybe because I'm a child in my head, but the thunder's neat. I like it, the lightning and thunder. It's like Thor. I keep seeing Thor's hammer. That'd be cool if I had those 2 things and the thunder and lightning and like Thor's hammer fly in front of it. I think that'd be cool. I would buy it then because of Thor's hammer. But that's just me. Again, I'm a geek. I'm into Marvel and all that kind of stuff. Lord of the Rings, Star Wars. Well, not the new Star Wars stuff, the old Star Wars, the original, the real Star Wars. The new stuff is a joke. I don't like it. Hurts my heart to watch Jar Jar Binks. Whoever thought of that should be fired and forced to change Biden's diapers every day. That's what should happen to that dude, because that was the worst thing to happen to Star Wars ever. And we'll talk about that at another time, because like I said, I can talk about Star Wars all day. I'm a big Darth Vader fan. I'm the bad guy fan. I like to see the bad guy win. Darth Vader, with Darth Maul, Kylo Ren, all those guys. When they win, it's cool. And I'll tell you a story another time about when I went to Universal with my son and we got to meet Kylo Ren and all that. Oh, it was really cool. Anyway, so yeah, they're asking Biden. We're not even asking. I think some people are starting to demand that he step down. And he's coming out with, hey, but I took a cognitive test. I'm sharp as a tack. I don't know what kind of tack he's comparing himself to, because he's not sharp at all. Sharp as a bowling ball. And he's still on it. He's still, doing this and doing that. I'm still the president of the U.S. I'm still making decisions. He's making decisions with his son, Hunter, who now comes to the White House to sit in on his briefings. I can't think of anything more frightening than that. You've got the doddering old man who can't control his bowels anymore. And you got his cocaine addict, crackhead son whispering in his ear during briefings. Nothing frightens me more than that. That is like a nightmare that people have. That guy and his son making decisions that affect everyone, that affect the whole world. The man's the leader of the free world. His son, Biden is. Whether you want to admit it or not, or take it, he is. He is the leader of the free world, getting advice from an addict, a current addict who's facing criminal charges. This is who's leading our country now. I don't know how that's. I can't imagine what his advisors think when Biden bebops into the room, wiping his nose because he just got back from the bathroom and goes, "Hey, I'm ready. Let's do this." I can't imagine what they're thinking. I mean, I can. I mean, it's probably just, oh shit, this is really going to happen. This moron's going to be in here. I got to talk about top secret stuff in front of this jackass, and he's going to give his opinion to the president, who's going to follow through on it. Maybe what they should start doing at these like briefings is like not telling them everything, giving them the easy stuff, and then when he leaves, have somebody else come in and they all make the decisions, because you can't leave it up to this man anymore if that's who's whispering in his ear. I don't understand why people allow that to happen. I really don't. I had top secret clearance in the Navy, and when we had briefings, not anybody could be in the room just because you wanted them there. I couldn't have like my wife come into the room when I was married. Hey, you want to come listen to this briefing? It's pretty cool shit. Tell me what you think. You couldn't. This is not how things work. That's why it's called top secret. Top secret, not open secret, or not like top open, or just, hey, come on in. Y'all can listen to the briefing. There's reasons for it. And I can't imagine they would clear a crackhead, cocaine head addict to be in those briefings. I don't know how they could clear him. That's a liability. But then again, I'm not a Democrat. I'm thinking with my head, not with my ass. So that's probably why. Yeah, Hillary could step in. I don't think Hillary is as in demand as she was before. I think she has lost a lot of luster. I think people don't see her as much as they, or look at her the way they did before. Yes, they could nominate her. I don't think they would. And they asked Newsom in Pennsylvania while he was out campaigning for Biden if he got nominated in an open convention, if that would tempt him, and he didn't respond. He kind of brushed it off and moved to something else, which leads me to believe he's been talked to about it. That's something his advisors and people are saying, hey, look, this is an open convention. What if we nominate you? What do you think? What are you thinking, Gavin? Tell us. So I think he's been approached by it, and he's probably been told not to address it. So that's why he's kind of avoiding the question now and not really addressing it. Makes sense. You don't want to have it seem like there's infighting in the party, like, oh, I want to be nominated. I don't care about Biden. It should be me. It makes sense. It's a pretty good strategy. But I think the reason why he's not addressing it is because of that. I think because he's already been approached, and I think he's already agreed to it. But we'll find out soon enough. Maybe. I don't know. Again, these are my opinions. And like I said before, I don't expect everybody to agree with my opinions. I really don't. I don't want to be in an echo chamber where everybody's like, oh, yes, that's right, that's right. If you don't agree, say something, and we can have a back and forth. I'm not going to take it personal. But, yeah, you don't have to agree with anything I said. And look up anything I tell you. If I'm making something up and you don't believe me, look online. And if you find out that I'm wrong, tell me. But I'm telling you, my gut feeling is telling me it's going to be Newsom. He's already been talked to about this. He's in on it. I think he knows there's going to be an open convention, and he's going to step in. I could be wrong. That's just what I'm thinking, because they can't keep Biden. We can't. Even if Biden, before all this happened, was the world's greatest president and was just a stellar leader, the man has mental issues. He has dementia, if not Alzheimer's. He can't be in office anymore. He can't. He can't. He needs to step down. And I hope somebody around him, but we know the crackhead's not telling, but somebody with an IQ above 2 saying, hey, look, man, Joe, you're slipping. It's time to go, man. Let's go. Let's go move to Florida, hang out in Boca Raton, watch the sunset, drink some boat drinks, and just enjoy what's left of our life, man. Let's go. Before you forget who you are, let's get out of here. I hope somebody's telling the man that, but I don't think they are, because Democrats are about power. They're not about integrity. So, yeah, in Pennsylvania, they flat out asked Newsom if it was an open convention, would he be tempted? He didn't respond. So I've told you my opinion. I think he already knows. I think they've already discussed that possibility with him and probably a couple other candidates too. I just can't get over the fact that between lines, Hunter Biden's in the White House advising his father. I just don't get it at all. And it should be concerning to everyone. Everyone. I mean, I can't. If I keep talking about it, my nose will start to bleed. I'm going to have a heart attack. So, in family-friendly Chicago over the 4th of July weekend is what they're calling it. They have at least 33 people shot dead. 11 more were injured. 33 people were dead over the weekend of 4th of July. 11 were killed in Chicago, and dozens more were injured nationwide. And, of course, as soon as someone gets shot with a gun, everybody's coming out saying, we need to ban guns. We need to ban guns. Oh, my God, guns are killing people. Oh, horrors. Let's go back to bows and arrows and clubs. I am not a sociologist. I am not a psychologist. I'm not a doctor. But I do have common sense. And I know one thing. Guns aren't killing people. It's people using guns to kill people. People will use knives to kill people. People will use bombs. They will use box cutters. They will use baseball bats. They will use cars. They will use trucks. They will use whatever they have to use to kill people. If they really want to kill you, oh, I can't get a gun? Well, I just got to stab the guy. I mean, what was it in Japan a year or two ago? That guy went on a stabbing spree and killed like 30 people in a subway, and it cut up a bunch of others. So it's not guns that we got to worry about. What the problem is in this country is a lack. Well, it's not a lack of it. It's a people problem. Let's look at what we're doing. Yeah, Dems want us unarmed too, because an armed population can defend themselves. So let's look at it this way. You pass laws to make guns harder for people to get. And you enforce these laws with threat of prison or fines or whatever. At the end of the day, Only law-abiding citizens will obey the law. Criminals don't give a shit. Oh, if I get a gun, you're going to put me in jail for 10 years? Whatever, you got to catch me first. They don't care. They're going to do whatever they got to do to get a gun. They don't care about the laws. All that succeeds in doing is making me and you less likely to be able to defend ourselves or our families against the people that don't care about the laws. It's really that simple. I don't need to be a genius. I don't need to have a bunch of letters after my name after graduating from 25 colleges to tell you that. Only people who listen to the law will obey the law. Criminals, by nature, don't listen to the law and will still get guns. It's really that simple. So we need to start looking at the problem from the other side. It's a people problem. And the argument can be made, look, we've taken God out of schools and put in transgender studies and other things that don't help kids, but we can't even bring the Bible into the schools. You can't spank your kids anymore because you can go to jail for that if somebody sees you doing it and they call the police. You can't say no to anybody because if you say no, you're phobic of something or other things. So you have to let people do what they want to do. I said it last podcast. I'll say it this podcast, and I'll say it till I stop doing podcasts. It all boils down to accountability. The minute we stopped holding people accountable for their actions and allowed them to blame other people, stuff got out of hand. Accountability is what we need. You use a gun in a crime, you go to jail. Doesn't matter. I'm poor, I'm impoverished, I'm uneducated. Sorry that happened to you. Life's a bitch, but you're going to prison. If you use a gun and you kill people in the process of a crime, you should be executed. I mean, maybe that's a bit harsh. Maybe there's some compromise there. But you go around shooting folks as a criminal, you should go to jail. Accountability is where it starts. That's the foundation of any functioning society is accountability. You do wrong, you get held accountable regardless of who you are. End of the story. But we don't do that anymore. Like I said, for Black Lives Matter, we're burning down cities and killing folks and beating folks, and nobody told them no because you can't tell them no. They have a right to be angry. No one ever said you can't be angry. I tell my son all the time, you can be mad all you want, but you can't be nasty to people because you're mad. If you're going to be nasty, go to your room until you calm down. We need to start telling people just because you're upset doesn't give you the right to go out and act out, lash out at people. You screwed up, you're going to pay the piper. On the other side of that, once you do your time, you're square with the house, your tab is paid, there should be no issues with you anymore, depending on the crime. Like I said last week, anything with children, your life is forfeit. I don't care what you do. If you hurt a child, you're done. You'll never see the light of day, or they're going to stretch your neck out. One of the two. Most crimes, when you're done, you're done. You've paid your dues. Welcome back to society. We've got to get with that too. We can't expect, we're going to punish you, but even when you get out of prison, we're going to continue to punish you. Can't do that. Can't do that. Like I said, barring certain crimes. So accountability. It's not guns. Like I said, we could get rid of guns. We'll just go back to swords and bows and arrows, and they'll still be killing people. You're not going to stop somebody who wants to do harm to other people. Just can't do it. They're going to find a way. It's not guns. What I think we need is more guns in the right hands. More guns in my hand. More guns in your hands. People who value life and have integrity. Those who I think should have guns. It's really that simple. If I have a gun in my house and you're anti-gun, don't worry about my gun unless you're going to break into my house. You got nothing to worry about. But we need to get back to accountability. Need to get back to that. We need to get back to a society where people are held accountable. And if you go out to hurt somebody, they're going to hurt you back, and they're going to do it faster, and they're going to do it better. I mean, there's some 7-year-old kid, I think it was in Chicago, was killed on 4th of July, shot, stray bullet, because idiots who shouldn't have guns, and people who should didn't. It's not a gun problem, it's a people problem. And you can go further than that. You can go back to a parent problem. Parents aren't raising their kids the way they used to. Parents aren't telling their kids no. They go to schools, and schools let them do whatever they want to do. So they're taught at an early age, you can do what you want to do. Someone will support you. It's sad. People lose their lives because there's no accountability. And then these same people who don't want to hold people accountable will jump all over a police officer the second he shoots a guy that shoots at him. Then the police officer's the bad guy because my baby didn't do nothing. He was just walking down the street. He was going to read books to the orphanage for blind kids next to the church. And the roving band of police officers drove by, jumped out, and shot him 900 times. And people believe, well, Democrats believe that. When it comes to guns, more people, right people, should have the guns. Take them away from the idiots. And if you have a gun and you're an idiot, you should do hard time. Hard time. And there should be no parole for that. You're going to do your time. It's really that simple. And if you break into somebody's house or you assault somebody on the street, you try to steal somebody's car, or try to mug somebody, you should fully expect to catch a bullet in your chest. You shouldn't be shocked. People shouldn't go, oh my God, you must value your belongings more than life. No, he values my belongings more than he values his life. Mine is mine. What's yours is yours. Don't try to hurt me or harm mine. You got nothing to worry about. But we've gotten away from that. We've become a nation of sissies that don't want to offend or hurt anybody's feelings anymore. Can't tell people no. It's always somebody else's fault. And it's only going to get worse unless we get a change in leadership. And hopefully this election time we will. Taking faith in God out of society has been, yes, I completely agree. Even if, look at it this way, even if you're not a religious person, let's say that, you don't believe in God. The Bible is nothing wrong with it. Even if you don't believe in God, you can still live by it and still live a good life. You don't need to believe in God to have the Bible work for you. It's all about, helping other people, being forgiving, taking care of your families, doing good when you can do good. There's nothing wrong with living like that. Nothing. That's why when these atheists say, well, what does your invisible friend say? Let's take him out of the equation then. What's wrong with this book? What is wrong with living by the guidelines in this book? Tell me what is so wrong with, honoring your father and mother. What is so wrong with not murdering people? What is so wrong with not stealing from people? What is so wrong with being honest? Take God out of that equation and explain to me what's wrong with that. And they couldn't, because there's nothing wrong with it. And that's how we need to start approaching Bibles in schools. We know as soon as you say the word religion, people lose their mind. Oh my God, it's crazy. He's crazy. He's a zealot. Let's approach it from a historical standpoint. This is one of the oldest history books in the world. It should be taught in schools. Simply for that. The first recorded murder is in that book. The first recorded murder in the history of the world is in that book. And it goes into the Roman Empire and other things. Approach it from a book based in history, and people can't argue with it. That's what I do. Hey, you don't like God? That's great. It's a history book. What other history book is this detailed that goes back that far in time and is that detailed? Put it in history class. And like I said, even if you don't believe in God, you're going to pick up on the morals and the values and the principles that come from that book, and you're going to take them in because it looks good and it feels good. There's nothing wrong with living that way. Nothing. You're still going to live a good life. You follow the Bible. So why not just do it? That's my pretty music. Yes, a school in Louisiana is teaching the 10 Commandments, and that's great. Moses' law, that's great. And they aren't, even if you didn't know about religion and you read the 10 Commandments, you wouldn't assume religion. You would assume this is just a good way to live life. These are 10 great rules for living. I don't see a problem with it. That's why I can't understand why people are so against the Bible. There's nothing wrong with living the way it teaches. With the Talmud, anything, any of those religious books, except, the Quran's got some weird stuff, and I've read a little bit of it, and it's kind of weird. But most religious books, if you live by their ethos, you'll live a good life. There's nothing wrong with it. So that's how I approach it when people say, well, I don't believe in God, and blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm not talking about the religious aspect of the Bible. I'm talking about the historical aspect. And they can't argue with it. I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I guess you're right. Because over like 60% of the stuff that's mentioned in the Bible has been proven. They found that it's factual. So that's how I would approach that. Shut the atheists up. So yeah, guns are not the problem. We just need to accountability, starting from home. Everything starts at home. And that's why Democrats are so big on single family parents and pushing gay agendas in schools, because they don't want that family.
Breaking news.
Because the family unit is what will keep everything base. It will bring accountability. It'll level out and even out people. They can't have that. They need you dependent on the government. So I ask everybody I know before you sit down to eat dinner and watch TV or getting yourself in to play a game or your iPad, try at least 3 nights a week. At least. If you can't do 3, do 2. 2 nights a week, have your family all together at the dinner table and have dinner together. No electronics. No TV. Talk. Ask your kid, hey, how was school today? What new thing did you learn today? How are your friends? Ask your wife or your girlfriend or boyfriend, hey, what did you do today? You clean the house, that's awesome. Or you had a hard day at work, I'm sorry to hear that. Talk to your family. And I guarantee if you do it once or twice, that'll turn into 3 or 4. And that'll turn into 5 or 6. And then before you know it, every night of the week, you're all going to be sitting down to have dinner. And you're going to talk. And you're going to find out, hey, this is really cool. There's nothing on TV or on my cell phone that is more important than this. I am thoroughly enjoying this. And then tell your friends, hey, dude, I had dinner with my family night at the house. They'll start doing it. It's these little things that if we do, it'll make a big difference. It'll impact the nation, like the world. Talk to your neighbors. I have had neighbors that lived next to me for 7 years. Never said a word to them until the other day. They're cool. Now we know each other. Now if there's a problem, they can come to me, or if they need help, I can go to them and vice versa. Do these things, these little things. Get rid of the government. Stop depending on the government. Don't watch the news for your information. Don't get on Facebook or anything to find out what's going on. Ask your neighbors. Go talk to people. Don't be an observer of life. Be a participant. Be involved as much as you can be, because this ain't a dress rehearsal. We don't get a second go round. This is it. This is it. Spend time with your family. Spend time with people that elevate your train of thought, that introduce you to new ideas and new things. Stop being comfortable. When you're comfortable, you don't grow and you don't learn. The only time you grow and learn is when you become uncomfortable. You get into situations you're not familiar with, and then you have to think and you have to learn. So be a champion of being uncomfortable. That's why I think, and this is going to sound crazy, I think going camping is a big plus, because you're uncomfortable. You're in the woods, you're not in your house, you're not in your bed, there's no AC. So when you come home, you appreciate what you have more. You value it more. You respect it. You respect what you have. And you understand when people that don't have, you understand what they're going through. So you don't look down on me like, yeah, man, I remember I didn't have AC for 2 weeks. That's horrible. And does that compare to somebody who doesn't have it, period? No, but it gives you an understanding of life, of somebody else's life. It gives you a little empathy. Like, my AC is dead. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm sweating. I am sweating like it's beyond crazy. I can feel it running down my back. So when I get it fixed, if I can get it fixed this week, I'll have a better understanding of people who don't have it. I'll have empathy. It's really that simple. Spend time with your family. Eat dinner together as a family. Do things together as a family, and you will notice your life will improve. Your children's life will improve. Your spouse's life will improve. It's a fact. It's a fact. All right. Well, I think I've rambled on enough here. We got a couple minutes left. So again, I want to thank everybody who watched me last Sunday and who came back this Sunday. I appreciate it. If you're new this week, thank you. I come on every Sunday at 7 and I ramble on and scream and complain for about an hour, and then I let you get back to your evening. So if it's your first time, again, thank you. Yes, vote principle, not party. And you will never cast a bad vote if you do that for the rest of your life. It's really that simple. Principle over party. If you asked a question and I didn't get to it, I apologize. I am sorry. Wasn't ignoring you. It's only my second podcast, so I'm still kind of jumping around and learning things. If you like the video or the podcast, I keep calling it video. If you like the podcast, please hit like and share it with everybody you know. The more people we get involved in this, the more people we get listening and getting involved in this conversation, the louder our voice is, and then the powers that be can't ignore us. They're going to have to start listening to us, and they'll have to take us seriously. So share it with everybody you know. Share it with people you don't know. Share it with everybody. I'm on Facebook under the Conservative Corner. You can like and follow that page. There's Facebook Lives I have on there for about a year. Before I started doing this, you can watch some of those and go, man, that guy's crazy. Or, yeah, I agree with what he says. And again, I'm not looking for agreement. I'm not looking for everybody to agree with everything I say. So yeah, I'm on X and I think that's right down here in the corner where it says Conservative Seth. I'm there. You can check me out there. You can check me out on Facebook. You can check me out on X. You can check me out on the Patriots Prayer X page. Yes, Seth for Miss Maryland. And I'll get to that next weekend because it comes up a lot and I'll explain it. And I'm sure you will understand that as well. But thanks for hanging out with me tonight. It was great. I enjoyed it. Please like the page and like the videos you like it. I see a lot of people visit, but they don't like it. Just hit like. If you hit like, it doesn't mean I'm going to come to your house and you got to feed me dinner. It just means you like it. And retweet, I think that's what it's called, or re-X, whatever they're calling it now. Do that. If you do it, it doesn't mean I'm coming to your house, going to take a long, hot, steamy shower in your bathroom and then stay around for a week eating your food. It just means you liked it. That's all it means. And then watch everybody else in the Patriots Prayer. We got Alexander Levine's on here. She's awesome. The Based Mother. There's so many other people that do podcasts that are far better than me and have been doing this longer and have more knowledge about what they're talking about. Watch everybody. They're incredible, and I'm just glad that I can be a small part of this. But yeah, I had fun. I hope you had fun. I hope you come back next Sunday. I hope you tell your friends to come back next Sunday. And we'll have more stuff to talk about. Between now and then, if you have any questions, again, you can get me on X, shoot me a message, and I'll get back to you. If I don't get back to you right away, I'm not ignoring you. Just sometimes I get lazy. Yep. Tuesday nights at 9, you can watch Alexandra on 360 or Alexandra 360. Awesome. She had me on her show before I started this. Really cool chick, really smart chick. I like her. She's also a fellow tribesman. So we got that going for us. But yeah, everybody have a good evening. I am so glad I got to hang out with you again. And I hope I see you again next Sunday at 7. Other than that, have a good one. And remember, principle over party always. And you'll never go wrong. Everybody have a good evening.